everybody went in and they're getting like 10 times as much as they got from PGA, 20 times as much, 50 times as much, and they're not even that good. So you're a golfer. Okay, my son is a golfer, and he doesn't even want to think about it. He lives in West Palm, and he doesn't want to move there because
I would like to welcome everyone. While I am going to start the evening, please feel free to continue to go get drinks, appetizers, and go to the restroom, whatever you need to do. The official event will not start until we do the Pledge of Allegiance. So we have a fairly smaller group than I was expecting, so I think this will be a little bit easier than, I was planning on this speech for about 300 people. So, yeah, we didn't know how many people we were inviting and would be attending. So it's great that we have all of you here to celebrate this event. Happy birthday to Joe. This event is for Joe Lake. My name is Pete Seeley. I am the president of the Hockessin Historical Society, and on behalf of the Lake family, I welcome all of you to the Celebration of Life event for Joe. I think we could just say Joe. We all know him as Joe. Yeah, so we can skip the whole Joseph Lake Jr. part and just say Joe. We were close enough to him that we can call him that. I'm honored to be asked by the Lake family to introduce you all to this event. So it's great that we're all here. The gift that is being presented to all of you is going to be housed at the Hockessin Historical Society Museum at Tweed's Tavern, which is right over on Valley Road at Limestone Road, right where the Hack Center is, across from the post office. This gift, though, is not being presented to us as the Hockessin Historical Society. It is for all of you. It's for all the other groups that Joe was active with. So it's really a thank you to all of you. And this entire event was paid for by the Lake family. None of the funding was done through the Hockessin Historical Society. So this is an entire Lake family event, and we thank you so much for what you've done and for. There is a slight change in the order of events from your program that was handed out to you. What I'd like to do is have the first part be very formal, and if we could stay in our seats for about the next 10 or 20 minutes, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll then have the gift unveiled, then a really, really loud round of applause to the family for the donation, and then if we could, the most important part, I think, of the entire ceremony is a moment of silence for Joe, where we will then all sit down and just reflect on Joe's life, and that will last as long as Barbara and Terry wanted to. And when they feel like getting back up and speaking, so that could be, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, whatever they decide, that's when the program will continue. We'll have Barbara and Terry speak, and then there's also another family member that would like to present a speech on Joe to the entire group. So that will occur, and then after that, the photographer will be taking pictures of all of you in the groups that are represented here, so that you'll all have an opportunity to get your pictures taken with Barbara and Terry and the gift. I've had a hard time over the past couple of months because I've had to refer to this as the gift. So this is now the gift, and people come up to me, they sneak up to me and they say, "What's the gift?" And I said, "You have to show up to see the gift." But this video, this program is being video and audio recorded, so we will upload this to our YouTube channel, so anybody who's not able to attend can see this in the future also. Also, Joe Lake's book is on the back table. It is available for sale also at the Hockessin Library. So all the proceeds benefit the Friends of the Hockessin Library. It's $39.95. So sorry to make a sales issue out of Joe's event, but you can purchase it. It makes a great coffee top, tabletop book. But the information in there is so informative, and that's really about the only historical documentation on what happened in Hockessin recently. There have been no other Hockessin historians, so it's really Joe who preserved the history of this area. So we owe him much thanks for that. So join our group, join all the other nonprofits that are here. We have Wilmington Western Railroad representing. We have the Westchester Railroad group representing. We have so many other local nonprofits that are representing. And by becoming a member, you're supporting those groups, and every member counts. So when it comes time for them to get grant funding, that really shows. So if they have 30 members, it's one thing. If they have 300 or 500, that's another. And it really shows, your support goes a long, long way. And then becoming a volunteer and actually helping out is a whole other step. And that's where you really shine and help out the future generations. So what we're doing is not for us, it's to help out the next generations that don't know that we're helping them. So if you have the time, please volunteer your time to help them. And I think we'll see everybody on the 4th of July. That's now being brought back thanks to, I think, Mark Blake and the Gata group, where it was kind of canceled in the past few years because of COVID, which ruined everything. But now that is able to be happening again, and it's going to be the parade, also the relay races, I think, are first in the morning. The relay races are, I think, at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. 8:30. So I don't know if I'll be up for that, but yeah. And then the parade is, I think, 3 o'clock. And then the fireworks will be right in the evening. So it's great to have that event back for our group, for our community. So I want to just a show of hands just to see what groups are represented here tonight, and then I'll let the program continue with the Lake family. I wanted to see a show of hands. Who's here from the Lake family? Round of applause. Hey, thank you all. How about our elected officials? There was apparently past and present. Yeah, past and present elected officials. It's nice to have you all here. Wilmington Western Railroad. How many people do we have from Wilmington Western Railroad? Brian Woodcock. How many people would actually go to an auction and buy a locomotive? Oh, wait, not one locomotive, like a whole train set. And if you said I was buying a train set, they would say, like an HO set for your grandkids? No, a full-size locomotive. So yeah, great volunteer right there. Great job, Brian Woodcock. How many people do we have here from the Westchester Railroad? Hey, great, thank you. And now Hockessin Historical Society. Hey, thank you. The local business owners. Do we have any local business owners? The Hockessin Business Association? Gata members. Anybody from Gata? And so this just proves all the groups that are around here that are local that really support what we're doing as a community. So it's great to have all of you. I have other ones listed here. The Marshall Steam Museum. I don't know if anybody's here, but I became a member recently. I don't have any intention of riding around on the little child's train, but yeah, maybe my sister's kids will enjoy that. So it's so nice to have all of you here, and I hope the program goes really smooth. And we'll have everybody else be allowed to speak after we do the photo session. So the family will speak now after the Pledge of Allegiance, after the moment of silence, and then so then that'll give you an opportunity afterwards, after the photos, to kind of speak and let the family know your remembrances of Joe. And I have a few fond memories of Joe, some really funny ones also. I think the family has more funny ones, and you saw Joe as kind of a more down-to-earth human person, and we saw Joe as the person who would come to the meetings and kind of raise everybody's hairs a little bit. And he did it for the benefit of all of us. Joe really had the community's best intentions in mind when he was attending these events, and he attended all kinds of county council meetings and historic review board meetings and the Gata meetings and business association meetings. So the list goes on and on of everything that he did. And the list is in your brochure, but he did so many things that it is so small that you can't read it. So the larger version is right here on the wall, for you to read. So thank you so much for attending, and I think we'll get started then with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would all stand, please. if you can.
Behind the back.
I pledge allegiance and I think we're ready for the gift. You ready to unveil it?
Drum roll. We can't see it.
Everybody can be seated now. Thank you. The Lake family is really welcome that you're all here. Most of the family, sitting over here. This is sort of a two-part celebration. One's for his birthday, which was in today. He was 31. 81. And he really wanted to make it to his 80th. Unfortunately, that did not happen. He became interested in the history of the Native area in 1958 when the Hockessin Community Club sponsored the development of an audio-visual presentation on the history of Hockessin. That we do not know where it is today. After seeing this, he decided to write a book on singing. I found an order form for his first book, which was very interesting. It said Joseph R. Lake Jr. has been known as a local historian for 20 years, having given many illustrated lectures on Hockessin, the first of which was done in cooperation with Mrs. Carol Swain. Many are familiar with these interesting programs. He has authored a new book and will contain a number of illustrations used in lectures, plus more not to be seen before. The book of which 1,000 copies will be printed, will be available in 1976. This was the order form for it. And it says, make checks out as requested above and mailed to Thomas C. Marshall, Jr., Yorkland, Delaware. He was involved with him writing the very first book. I don't have to go in to tell you how much he loved the town. You all know that. And then there was the railroad. He loved that all his life. When we were born, we were raised in a park next to, is part of what is George's Seafood now. If you go up the front steps of George's Seafood, and you look all the way over to the left, you'll see a door that leads to nowhere. That used to lead into where we live. And when he was small, he would come over and watch the locomotive bring the different cars up to the Hockessin Supply Company, which was right across the street. He had a train set in there in the apartment. We had one room, spare room, and it was just enough room in that room that you could get around, walk around. The rest of it was all training center. It was up all year long. Then he got involved with the Wilmington Western Railroad when it first started with Tom Marshall. And he was with that for a while. He used to, when they brought the train up, there's a picture back there that he gave a speech when the first passenger train came up. And that was in 1967. And, which was pretty nice that I located that. Then he ended up selling hot dogs across the street for the passengers and beverages. And then when he joined, I believe, the Westchester Philadelphia Historic Railroad, he used to sell, if I'm not mistaken, hot dogs and beverages on that line. Then he finally gave that up. He attended so many meetings, just like Pete said, and there's one person here tonight I really was glad to make it, and that's Sandra Pugh, sitting right over there. Yeah. Sandra Pugh is his he put out the published the Hockessin Holiday. And back there on the table was the last issue he put out. It was October 2020. And Sandra he would tell me, well, I got to get all this stuff together and get down to Sandy's. Or he'd say, he'd come there and say, I got to go down to Sandy's and pick something up and bring it back. She was his right-hand man, I'll tell you. She really loved working with you on this. So I just want to say thank you. Also, I want to say, the family wants to give a special thanks out to Pete Sealy and Darlene and Moby for helping us put this thing on tonight. And we were having a hard time figuring out what we were going to do to honor him. And we were going back and forth on different things that we wanted to present to society and to the community. So one day Pete was at the house with Barbara and I were discussing. He said, you know what, he was out at the Tweeds Tavern, or the museum one day, and he turned around to Pete and he said, see that desk over there? There's going to be a bust of me on that desk one of these days. You got it. So that's how that all came about. Yes, this was made from this picture. And it was an outfit up in upstate New Jersey called Antique Sculptures. And I contacted them. They said, well, send a picture. So I sent that picture. They usually said it takes 2 or 3 pictures so they can get the whole head. And that picture was so good that he said, that's all we need. And they made a resin bust out of it first and sent it to us on a video. It would spin around, and once we saw it, we said, okay, that's it. Then it was sent to a Providence, and I can't pronounce it, over in China. And that's where it was made out of. Thought from that picture. I thought it was an excellent. And it was Debbie?
So nice to see everybody out here to remember and honor our uncle. Joe Lake Jr.'s lifelong journey on this earth was filled with learning, traveling, researching, writing, serving, and sharing unlimited information to all that would listen. I suspect many of you have a memorable Joe conversation that you inevitably learned something. He was a true educator. You all know Joe as the Hockessin and Railroad historian. What you may not know about Joe is that he was mine and my four sisters' loving Uncle Joe. We have so many joyful memories with Uncle Joe. He was always excited to see us and would greet us with his signature smile and twinkle in his eye as if we brightened his day. My sister Terry shares this. She said, I was very blessed to make many great memories living next door to Uncle Joey over the years. But a very particular and precious memory is when he would have yard sales with my daughters, Joanna and Stephanie. He really enjoyed being with those girls and having the opportunity to share that experience with them and making such wonderful memories that they will cherish and never forget. He frequently made comments on how Stephanie reminded him of his brother, or dad, Terry, when he was young. I too have many great memories of Uncle Joey. Too many to mention, but there are a few that stand out. I always remember my very first train ride here in Hockessin. It was the Wilmington and Western Railroad. Uncle Joey was my personal escort. As a little girl, I felt so special that our uncle was there to watch us and take care of us as the big train rolled down the track, departing from Hockessin to uncharted territory. I remember telling my childhood friends back then, my uncle works on the railroad. Another fond memory is when I got married. The wedding ceremony was held at my parents' house on Valley Road, and Uncle Joey offered to transport me and my husband to the Hockessin Fire Hall, what's what we used to call this place. Again, my personal escort, Uncle Joey, all smiles, in the driver's seat of his convertible Chevy Chevelle, top down, ready to go. I remember in his last days, I was transporting him to the hospital for a brain scan procedure, and he grumbled, I hope this doesn't take very long. I lightened the heavy, burdensome moment and said, I don't know, Uncle Joey. It may take a while. After all, there's an awful lot of information in that head of yours. He chuckled and smiled at me with that memorable twinkle in his eye. I'm grateful for that precious moment. Me and my sisters will treasure all the great memories. Holidays, Oktoberfest, yard sales, train rides, July 4th parades, family gatherings, and many, many more. Uncle Joey loved his hometown, as we all know. He loved trains and all the history that surrounded both the town and the trains. I'm here to say, on behalf of the Lake family, that he also loved us, his family, very much. We miss him terribly, but are eternally grateful for the many, many memories we have with Uncle Joey. He will live on through us and all of you that we're blessed to have known. So, when this monumental gift from our parents is displayed, all that visit will be able to see his signature smile and twinkle in his eye. I know each visitor will bring a smile to his face from heaven. Thank you all for joining in the celebration of our dear Uncle Joey's life. We love you, Uncle Joey. Happy heavenly birthday. Thanks for the memories.
The one thing we want to do right now is I want to thank the Hockessin Memorial Hall manager, Sarah, right over there, and President Dan Carrier for allowing us to use this facility and putting on the snacks and the beverages. And I think they did a real nice job, and I appreciate them having us there. I think now, if anybody else wants to come up and give some remarks, they are free to do so at this time. And then after that, we'll be able to view the monument. Yes.
Do you want to do the pictures first with the other groups, or whichever order you want? Are you staying here for a while? Oh, okay, great.
So is there anybody who would like to come forward?
I would, yeah. Hey, y'all, my name's Colin. I was Joey's nephew, great nephew, if you will. I like to think that when I think of my Uncle Joey, that I think of the legacy that he left behind and the legacy that he left on this town. I like to also think that my Uncle Joey would be, in a sort of way, like the face of this town. He really put it on the mark. But mostly, if I could say there was one word that describes him, it would be a legend. Because I think of very few people that have done more stuff, not only for this town, but in his lifetime in general, for lots of people, as well as, again, for this town. I hope that, as myself as a lake, that I can carry on the legacy that my Uncle Joey has left behind and amount to someone, or amount to the point as good as a man as my Uncle Joey was. So that's about it for me. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brian Woodcock. I met Joe in the late 60s. He was become then the president of the Wilmington and Western Railroad. And I was to follow him after he got so involved in his Secret Service with the State Department. So I was with them for 7 years, and Joe and I, of course, had a lot of fun together. One of the funniest things that really happened was Joe was a dedicated Democrat, and I was a dedicated Republican. And we had a lot of fun. Looking around tonight, I see all the people who have touched his life and whose life has been touched by. And it's Joe I want to talk about tonight. But I salute you all for coming tonight, because I see the faces who helped Joe. Mrs. Pugh, you were incredible. Diane Sorensen, you never gave up on us. And I could go on, the Wilmington and Western, the Westchester Railroad. Joe's hot dogs. He loved to cook hot dogs in that damn baggage car. Not only that, I watched him sometimes. He'd be shoveling hot dogs and saying, yeah, the Wilmington and Western was this, that, and the other, and Westchester Railroad was, and he's talking to the people on the train while he's making hot dogs. Did you know, I'm an Army veteran, and of course so was Joe. Did you know Joe was really a hero? On many occasions we swapped war stories. Joe volunteered to be a listening post during the Korean involvement. His little office, he was listening to the North Koreans talking back and forth, and he would relay that to the Army headquarters, knowing full well the North Koreans had his little outpost all ready to go to be obliterated by the artillery. Luckily, they never pulled the trigger. But there were very few people that would sign up to a job like that. During the time that I was with Joe, which is now 50 years, he was an antique dealer, historian, author, writer, speaker, educator, and a preservationist, performing many community services. Hockessin, the town he loved, and the Delaware communities. It's so difficult to wrap up 50 years of experience with a dear friend. And I have to take off my hat to him because today we're saluting him for the contributions to the town he loved so much. I really hope that the last book that he was about to finish will be finished as the Historical Society, and I'll offer my help to help complete that. This could be a fitting testimony to his legacy. And all I can say, Joe, is God bless you. Your shoes are awful hard to fill. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Except my husband, Joe Long, graduated with Chadley Lake from Conrad High School, and they had adjacent lockers. That's how we always knew each other. I would love to know what Joe did during his work for the government.
So would we.
Well, I've got kind of a tough job to represent a whole lot of elected officials. Oh, and I see one. That have worked. Krista Griffin is here. And Janica Patrick's here. And there are a bunch of other ones. Mike Smith. Maybe everybody should come up at one time. Because we worked in shifts. I was, Roger Roy and Joe Moreau and I worked with, and Janica Patrick worked with Joe in the early days when he had his vision based on history of all the things that could happen. And over time, we had more and more elected officials get involved. And this is just a small number of them that were involved here. And he always said, well, let's go talk to them. Let's have them for breakfast. Let's bring them to the Christmas party. And he got people out and he talked to them and he had a show and he had books. And it made a real difference, and you can see what we've done with it. When we had to move to Tweed's Tavern, when it didn't work in the first location, everybody was ready to throw up their hands, but he kept going, got people involved, got all the right people involved. So I'm just one person, but yes.
Hi, I'm Krista, and it's just wonderful to be here with you. I met Joe knocking doors, believe it or not, about 4 years ago in the hot summer. I will never forget that day. I went to his door, knocked on it, and we all know off the old Lancaster Pike, I found him. It wasn't easy to find him because you had to kind of go in, and it wasn't the front house, it was the back, and I thought it would be a 2-minute conversation. And again, this is a hot day, and that was no 2-minute conversation. Before I knew it, I had a glass of lemonade in my hand. We were sitting in front of his home at a table, and we talked about all things Hockessin. And when he said he wrote the book on Hockessin, I thought, oh, that's funny, he wrote the book on Hockessin. He's like, no, literally, he wrote the book on Hockessin. And I have that book. I treasure that book. I treasure so many memories about Joe because he really showed me, the first person really showed me the beauty of this wonderful community he truly loved, was so devoted to. And I know how touched he would be to see everybody here this evening. And it just was such an honor for me to know him, and I couldn't have think of a better friend to introduce me to this wonderful community. And I miss him very much. In the past year, there's been a lot of different issues or questions that I've had that I used to just pick up the phone and call him up, and he always called me back. And I was one of those trips at Quinn's for breakfast where we went and did some tours of drainage issues and historic markers, and I think we covered 20 topics in a car ride. But just so thankful that you are here to continue his memories and have this celebration for Joe, and know that his friends in the General Assembly and County Council and everyone he met will keep the love that he shared with this community alive. So thank you.
Good evening. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Janet Kilpatrick. I'm the councilperson presently for this district, but prior to that, I worked for the House of Representatives. And I worked for all of the representatives that I heard Lyanne mention. And so I frequently took the phone calls from Joe. So in my past life and in this life, there was a lot of, can you help me through the state? Can you help me get some money? Can we call DelDOT? Can you ask for something from the county? Can you get me folding chairs from the county? So over the years, Joe was one of the best as far as interacting with government and understanding what they could do for him and the Historic Society, not just him personally, and what they could not do. So it was a pleasure to have known him. I think he passed way, way too soon. I have always admired what he had the ability to do. There was not a Hockessin question that could be asked that Joe could not answer. So in his memory, I apologize for being late tonight. We have council meetings on Tuesday nights. So I just got out of that council meeting, and I know that Mike Smith and Krista were in the same situation because Mike had texted me, Mike texted me and went, are you there yet? Because I'm just coming up from Dover. So Dover, Joe, Newcastle County had a lot of interaction, and I am happy to have known him, and thank you all for being here tonight.
So the first time I ever got to meet Joe was actually at a GATA meeting. I was coming to every GATA meeting, and I got to know Joe more and more. First time we had a really substantive conversation, because Mike, I need your help, I need some money. And I said, well, I'm pretty young, Joe, I don't really carry much cash on me. I'm more into Venmo, but I think I have $20, you can have it. No, it's a bond bill, I need to talk about the bond bill. And I said, well, why don't we go out for coffee or something sometime? And then he mentioned Quinn's. So we went out for breakfast at Quinn's. I'll never forget it because I told my wife I'd be home in an hour, and I was home in 2.5 hours. And she said, what took you so long? And I said, well, I didn't know I was going to learn all about Hockessin in one day, and I think you did a really good job of condensing it. Joe was one of just the kindest, gentlest people. You're right, he never did talk about what he did for a living when I asked a few times. I always laughed, and I was able to come to this funeral and celebration of life and kind of learn more about that. But I can deeply say that when I go around Hockessin and I talk to people, I think Joe might be the one person that is like the unseen hero of all the good that's happened in Hockessin. Joe's touched it in some way. And not many people know that, and that's not why Joe did it. He didn't do it for credit, he just did it because he really loved his community. And that's just something I'll always remember about Joe, and just so thankful that I got a chance in my short tenure to spend some time with him and learn more about the rich history that our community does have. So thank you all very much. This is awesome.
He also interacted with government officials. He had, I think, 3 different, what would you say, Mark, 3 different cabinet secretaries of DelDOT that he dealt with?
Yes.
Yeah, at least.
Well, hello all. My name is Tyler Haney, and I am the current president of the Westchester Railroad Heritage Association, volunteer for the Westchester Railroad. And I fortunately never had the chance to meet Joe personally, but through my volunteers, those who were with him from the start of the railroad, I've heard all sorts of stories about him, including many about the world-famous Westchester hot dog. But Joe was so much more than that to the railroad. When a group of volunteers from the Wilmington and Western decided to go out on their own and try to take on a new challenge, they went up to the SEPTA line from Westchester to Glen Mills that had been abandoned for 10 years, and they wanted to completely rebuild it and start running excursion trains on it. And Joe was there as the first president of the Heritage Association and our longest serving president. And it was his drive, his ability to get funding, publishing our newsletter, doing the concessions, and it was everything he contributed that really helped us all volunteer nonprofit railroad get started and get to the point where it is today. And I'm very thankful for that. And as the current president, as Brian said, it's big shoes to fill. But beyond just the railroad, everything, all these organizations that he's part of, everybody who's spoken tonight, all I can say is that Joe was must have been a model citizen, a great man, and proud to be here to just hear from everybody who did know him and to continue living on just a very small part of his legacy. Thank you.
I think the last thing I have to say on behalf of the family, when this sculpture gets moved out to the Hockessin Historical Museum, that picture will go, and this back sheet over here will go with it. And I know Pete says things are tight out there, but I'm sure they can find a place to place it. So that's where it's going to be going, probably later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for the donation. Why don't you put up and say
Hi, my name is Beth Ankees, and I'm the past president of the Westchester Railroad Heritage Association. And I'd like to present this book, The Westchester Railroad, that Joe Lake actually helped us write with over 70 volunteers of the Westchester Railroad, to the Hockessin Historical Society in memory of Joe Lake and all that he did for our railroad this 28th day of June 2022. It's also signed by the author.
I guess now if anybody wants to come up and look around, get some pictures, get some more beverages, something to eat, help yourself. Gotcha.
Behind the tavern. The one that I always say they need to open. Are you still living down here?
I'm still in my house. I still don't live, my house is the first floor. Back to the sale. My kids came home between 3
West Coast, right? Bye, dear. See you at the bar. We go to Mexican table. We'll buy a drink. You got it. She must know. He hasn't gone to that house. My house. By the which farms? By the creamery, by the dairy? I've been there since the night.
We're only like a mile away, 2 miles.
He's local.
Great to talk to you.
Great to see you.
Beth, do you want to come up with your group?
stories about, mostly about if you're going up on the road scene. So I'm pulling around on it. Coming up 48, cross 73, straight from Beverly. So thought about that house. You get there, like, I can't remember, I think it's Rick. Maybe it's on the back in the 60s, and apparently there's a guy and he would sell beer. So the guy who does the live stream is talking about
We'll do the Historical Society next. Hey Brian, while you're here, let's do the Hockessin Historical Society. And we'll take a picture with everybody from that group. Darlene, I see you coming up. Lance Harnson. Yeah, we're going to do a Historical Society photo, if anybody's interested. Sandra. Please. Hey, look, Leanne. We don't want to miss you. Dennis Perry, come on up. Wherever, hey. Yeah, you can kneel down in the center. You can be right here, and I'll move over to the other side. That's great.
Boy.
And if we could do a photo with our local elected officials, how about all of our elected officials?
Thank you so much.
Let's have a photo with all of the elected officials. Terry. Hey, Terry.
Judge that when her boyfriend went walking through the... Yeah, take the elevator up to the third floor. My mom's busy talking. She wants to take Grandpa. She wants to talk to Mom.
I'll be back. All right, the third floor.
When you get off the elevator, go right and then go left.
All right,
Look for light switch. You don't even see the key.
I know. I serve the cheese.
Hey, sit down and think about it. What you want? That's Oh, go ahead, cool, thank you. I'll call it.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but she's been chilling lately, just working on her stuff.
Hey, Danny's coming up on my never stop doing it. There it is. I know, I told you. She's 86, trust me. That's what I told you. I told you a week ago. It was Tuesday night. No, Tuesday night. I can hear her now. And this lady, she talks to my mom every day. She said, "You're going abroad or?" I'm done. Start digging. I do as a person, but not as. I miss coming down here, though. I mean, it's not like it used to be. This is going to be that. Ice cream scoops, zero ice cream scoops. That comes in. Check that out. Robots and shit. Ice cream roll. That's ice cream scoops. It was actually on frozen fruit. bring it down notch tomorrow, shit. Chef's choice. One was a sandwich spreader and one was a mini serrated knife. She's like, I thought these were pretty cool.
We don't have to do any work on my side. We're gonna go over. Darlene left, I think, right? She didn't know anything was happening. I'll let Darlene know. What's the big white thing? You don't even know what it is yet. We're public, and I'm supposed to be like a leader, We're thinking about how to do it. We're thinking about how to do it. We're gonna call the fire company. We're gonna get some hydraulic jacks and lifts and everything. I brought my ketchup.
That sounds like the typical thing. hand was I got my daughter's It's a lot of muscle. Strap it to each back. That's happening tonight. Right now. We're gonna do that.
I'll make it a donation.
Wherever we put it, that's the idea. Wherever we put it, it's not perfect. So we can move it around there. So that's considered Joe's work. So that was like Joe's type food area. So that's just why Terry thought maybe it would be good to have it in that region. So I think there's some space in there. I think it'll fit. But we're always free to move it around. It's not permanent wherever. And all of our exhibits, all of our exhibits need to be changed out and moved. So that's going to take time. Well, I hear you. It's a lot of work.
This was so nice.
I think we'll be okay though, having it Hey. And then like you're saying that Brian's going to want his too.
I would have never.
So you're never
Kay Baker was secretary.
it could have a bigger event than that.
It's a good job. And I should live down
RRHA.
Okay. Is that legit? Did you just separated all that?
So there we are.
So yeah, I think it's fine enough. And then we're going to have to meet them over at 4 or 5 times. You want to come over? Okay.
I'm not sure.
So we'll be over at the museum in about 10 minutes.
Tomorrow's the final one.
But I have my key. If you're okay with it. But I think that central area, right in between, where you have that sign that you put up for outside, there's 2 cases on both sides. I think it's a good area. You have your signature. Right on the floor. Yeah, we'll look at it. We'll see when we get over there. Okay, we'll be right over.
Is this the one I'm getting? Okay. Thank you. You're Carrie, right? The extras. I'm sure we're going to I didn't think that of this.
Yeah, I was trying to get a couple that I could send them to members that we don't have.
No, I gotta get this.
I think I turned all the lights off and I shut that door. I took him to the archive.
You were in my room? I let him in your room, It's a mess. Sorry.
Why is this in my concert? Yeah.
He says that now.
Well, Jordan's friend that was around that, like, he said he watches like that. Today, right? Well, he's like, you know, gas is expensive. And I'm like, dude, you got a freaking smart car. Don't you try to yeah, yeah, but he can try to
Oh, that's right, that's our name. So 8 years, so 8 and a half. Yeah, we met in middle school and then we started dating in high school. Yeah.
It's been a ride.
All of them for like 2.5 hours. And I just sat there and I didn't say much. I just sat there and took notes. It was like that's the only way. We renovated the whole interior of the back house. That's all done. We got grants last year.
See ya. Take care, you too. You take care.
top of the base. It sounds like shelf. Have you been on, have you been?
I have not, no.
Every time that guitar. This is terrible. There's one, I think you like so cheap. I am going to make sure. I go to Amish, like down the street, so I'll put down here, they charge you on the left. Sitting on the shelf. Yeah. I was there.
Let me know because it's literally like 2 minutes from my house and it's all Amish. I love it there and that's where you get all on. That's all right, that's a greenhouse, that's all right. If I do my smoky nuts, so with the smoky nuts, that's actually sports pop pipe, with smoky nuts greenhouse. It's right outside of
No problem.
yeah, you know, we're
Go out wherever and do whatever.
I know.
How's it look? Looks great. So we take it down to Georgetown.
That's right, we're off, man. We're
I sold your table. I'm like, not my table, it's your table. I used to love it.
Yeah, I do. She's signed and everything, yeah.
Keep it touch. That's probably for the relevant group. We have so many relevant groups. So we should say we're running out of space. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Try not to get me in too much trouble. Come on.
Okay, don't worry.
All right, here's the table.
You know how many pounds? Yeah, okay. I got you. I got you. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Take care. Be well. All right.
Thank you.
Nice to meet all of you. Oh, take care. I told you it had some weight to it. To that beach house, girl. Yeah, man. All right.
Two handfuls. They're just starting to come in. Yeah, let me get my car's right here. One handful yesterday and one handful the day before. I've got no stores down to this opening of canes and you know the berries everywhere. They look like when I came home the day before yesterday, Sunday.
But they're good. So when you're in tomorrow night,
I knew it was getting close because like I haven't seen those birds for a while. Birds are hanging around.
Well,
I can't watch that.
Years ago for somebody, yeah. Oh,
I can't watch that.
Exactly right, you're right.
I don't remember that being in the church, you know.
Take care, Robert.
I remember the,
See you next year.
right.
Spend a lot of time doing this.
I gave the other producers.
It is a shame you didn't know. We're crossing these paths now, because what we did for our the first site we honored is the actual subcommittee. That tell you all the history, and you get storyboards, videos, and we did it in February. No, actually in March, we did in April, we did St. Patrick's. In May, we just recently did St. John's the Evangelist. And in September, we're gonna, we just met today about what are we gonna do about St. Mary's the Assumption.
It should be 2 pieces, Brady. That'll lift off of that bottom.
When it started, how it started, what was first built, and all the way up to the stained glass, every project, how it transformed over, like, let's see what.
Yeah, you lost the model, Steve. Oh, that's what you carried.
So anyway,
I don't say I know, I do know.
yeah,
Square back. That doesn't mean, I just saw something now on TikTok. That's, well, you know, when I saw my face, I was like, I think I just saw something like that.
But at the,
Do you like it? I got it myself.
better dance,
I mean, like, it was down to here, and I didn't know, I just went like this.
all, a lot of pictures.
And then I tried to angle them all,
All displays for all of the sites that were.
and then I put the curls in it.
You missed,
Curlers? No, I
connecting before we did St. Patrick's. You might.
And then her, like, look at this, she's got like a
We got tired of waiting for you.
like this.
The other one's on top of the
Time that right there.
It might be about 45 minutes here, at this time of night, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I got pictures of when we were over there.
So on our TV stand, I have like a picture.
And what year was it?
And then I have.
Oh, well, that, you put that fire, but the church was still there.
Yeah.
Is that church?
What do you say?
What?
Oh, you got to talk.